In the past, we have learned different strategies to use while problem solving. We've talked about using a picture, drawing a picture, or using a chart. Today, we're going to work on using a table, making a table, and looking for a pattern. We have used patterns in the past to solve problems. Look at this simple pattern here. We have yellow, red, red, yellow, red, red. I bet you could figure out what comes next. Yellow. Let's talk about making a table and looking for a pattern. The problem is a video game company tested 20 games. 3 of the games did not work. If 120 games are tested, how many of them might not work? Now, whenever I see a problem, a word problem, I always read it twice and try to make it make sense. The first time I'm just reading to make sure I understand the words. So, a video game company tested 20 games. 3 of the games did not work. Okay, so out of 20 games, 3 did not work. If 120 games are tested, how many of them might not work? Alright, I'm going to use a table to complete this problem. So I'm just going to draw myself a table, and I'm going to make a line down the middle, and on the first part I'm just going to write how many games were tested. It was 20, and 3 didn't work. So let's keep this pattern going. Let's say we doubled that, and instead of 20 it was 40 games. Well, if 3 did not work for 20, then what's 3 and 3? Since it's 20 and 20, the answer would be 6. And we just keep that pattern going. Let's add another 20 on. Well, if we're going to add another 20 on to make 60, we're going to add another 3 on to make 9. So out of 60 video games, 9 did not work. Let's do 80. If we're going to add another 20 on, we have to add another 3 on. Let's add another 20 on, and now we have 100. And I'm running out of room on my graph, or on my chart. If I add 20 more on, that means I'm going to add 3 more on. So here we go. 12 plus 3 is 15. Let's add another 20 on, and our answer is going to be 120, which is what we're looking for, because it asks right here, if 120 games are tested, how many might not work? Well, we've added 3 on each time, so let's add 3 more on to 15, and the answer is 18. So our guess is, using our pattern, using our table, that if they test 120 games, 18 of them might not work. Because on this part of the table we added plus 20 each time, and this part of the table we added plus 3. Let's look at another word problem. Let's pretend that I went to go buy a bag of marbles, and each bag has 20 marbles. And let's say out of those 20 marbles, there are 4 green marbles. So let's say that I am going to buy 80 marbles. Well, I'm going to have to buy a few bags because the bags only have 20 in each one. So if I buy 80 marbles, I want to know how many of them are going to be green. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a chart, and I'm going to make a line down the middle. Here we go. And then what I'm going to do is I want to know how many of these are going to be green. And then this is going to be my total. And I already know my first piece of data. My total number of marbles with one bag is 20, and that's going to be 4. I have 4 green marbles. So let's say I buy myself another bag of marbles, so that'd be 20 and 20, that would be 40. So if I'm going to add on 20 to 40, then I need to add on 4 to 4, because this chart, you add 4 each time at the top, and at the bottom you're going to add 20 each time. So 4 and 4 would be 8. But I'm not up to 80 marbles yet, so I'm going to draw myself another line, and I know that if I buy myself another bag instead of 40, I got to add that. Oh my gosh. Remember, whenever you are using a table to find a pattern, it's just like when you find a pattern in numbers. 3, 6, blank, 12. Well, you have to ask yourself, okay, are we increasing or decreasing? We're increasing. That means the numbers are getting bigger. Then we want to know by how much. So we look and we see the difference between 6 and 3, and the answer is 3. We're adding 3 each time. So 3, 6 plus 3 would be 9. It's the same thing, only this time we're using it to find information in a story problem. Now it's time to do the guided practice with your teacher.